Mike O'Mara, Radio Entertainment.
Hello, my name is Mike, and today's show is brought to you by our Amazon page. Please remember to shop at MikeO'MaraShow.com/Amazon. It's quite simply the best way to support this show. If you need it, Amazon has it, and you can get it at MikeO'MaraShow.com/Amazon. Bookmark it, please.
Available on demand every day in iTunes and the Google Play Store, and around the world on MikeO'MaraShow.com. What more can we do for you? It's the Mike O'Mara Show.
We have to move very quickly here. We've got a very
Please.
special celebrity guest in studio with us today, and we're going to have a nice chunk of time to chat with her. Before we do that, I just wanted to clear the air because I did it again. Oscar, this is directed towards you. I did it again. I don't know if you were aware of it. Last night I engaged on our Facebook fan page.
Oh, I just missed it. I have not heard about this.
Had I known, I would have made some popcorn and sat down for the fun.
There was language.
Oh, no.
From me. It was irrational. It was not professional.
Irrational?
It was irrational. It was irrational. I mean, it was not measured. As it was not the proportion to the comment that was made did not deserve the FO that I gave this person. It was F off that I gave this person. It didn't. It was something that he was talking. He was agreeing with you, Oscar, when you were talking about Ludacris hosting the Billboard Awards.
Yes.
And I took offense to that. And then I said, "You're a troll." And I attacked. And I went. So this morning, after a beautiful night's sleep,
Yes, wonderful.
and looking at my beautiful son, I got up and I wrote a very nice message that said, "I will no longer engage with the negative." And I meant that. And I'm going to try really hard to keep my pettiness to this show. I will be as petty as I always am on this show, but that's it.
You mentioned that word petty before we keyed the mic state. I'm curious, will pettiness seep into anything positive? Will you be positively petty?
Screw you, Rob. Let's just start the show. Just start the goddamn show. Thank you.
It's the Mike O'Mara Show. You can listen to the Mike O'Mara Show at www.MikeO'MaraShow.com.
Stay tuned for an outstanding entertainment program.
It's the Mike O'Mara Show.
Let's get down to business. From the entertainment capital of the world.
Just calm down. I thought you were going to take a nap anyway.
Cheryl, I am telling you, there are these kind of guys all over the place. They're industrial spies. And this one was wearing one of these green coats, and then he took beer and put it on his chest, and then he jumped out of that window.
Laverne, we all looked out that window. What did we see down there? Nothing but rancid yeast and rotten hops.
Hello.
There she is, Laverne DeFazio. A woman passing through the passages of time and space into the Twilight Zone.
Fine, great. This is just great. Now the whole brewery knows. Nobody believes me.
Wrong. We believe you, Laverne.
That's right. There are spies everywhere, Laverne. From Russia behind the iron drapes.
You know something, boys? I think when God was handing out brains, he mistook you two for a couple of cactus.
An honest mistake?
It's the Mike O'Mara Show. Mike O'Mara, Rob Spiewak, Oscar Santana. And now, from his office chair, here's Mike.
Coming to you live from the Cappy Pfeiffer studio in the heart of our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. This is the Mike O'Mara Show. We are on the air and online worldwide. The Mike O'Mara Show is a daily radio show and podcast with the greatest listeners on the planet because they get it. And if you're here, you do too. Our show today brought to you by Stamps.com. Time.
Time.
I'm not going to do the Morgan Freeman. Time.
Okay.
There is never enough time, and trips to the post office eat up tons of it. That can really slow you down. Luckily, now you don't have to go to the post office thanks to Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, you use your computer and printer to buy and print official U.S. postage right from your desk. They will even send you a digital scale that will automatically calculate the exact postage for any letter or package at any class. No more tedious trips to the post office. No more wasted time. Just print the postage at your desk and then hand it off to your friendly neighborhood postman. That's it. Nice. We have used Stamps.com for years. You should, too. It keeps our D.C. to Florida pipeline wide open while we save time and money. Act now for a free no-risk trial and $110 bonus offer, including a free digital scale that eliminates all the guesswork and also up to $55 in free postage. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone, and use our code TMOS. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in TMOS. Stamps.com and TMOS. The time is now. We have a wonderful, beautiful celebrity guest in studio with us today. She has written a book, Shirley, I Jest, A Storied Life. I love the title of this book. It is Cindy Williams. You remember Laverne and Shirley. For those of you that are younger in our audience, I should say, kids, in a land long ago, far, far away, there were 3 channels.
That's it.
And if you had a hit show on one of those channels, you were a god, or a goddess in this case. Cindy Williams joins us now, and Cindy, we're delighted to have you with us. Thanks for coming by on your swing through our nation's capital. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine, Mike. You know that postage.com is sounding mighty good, and when I'm out of here, that's directly where I'm going.
Way to shill the sponsor.
You'll
That's
love it.
great. We
It's good
appreciate
stuff.
that. It's funny because with Laverne and Shirley, and I go back to the iconic film American Graffiti, which was the vehicle that really put you on the map. And I think that there were young men all over America that kind of loved you had that girl next door vibe coming from American. You were Ron Howard's girlfriend in American Graffiti, and I remember that.
Yes.
Everybody wanted to be your boyfriend back when that movie came out, right?
I don't know how you mean that, but I'm taking it in a very dignified way.
Sure. It was great.
That was
movie.
not the part I wanted to play, though. I wanted the Candy Clark role, Debbie, the bad girl.
Oh, the fast
you wanted
girl.
to be the bad
fast girl. Thank
Wow.
you. Yes.
But everybody rooted for you in American Graffiti.
Well,
so,
I guess so. Yeah. But it was a weepy character, and I thought it was going to be more fun to play that role, and when they offered the part to me, when they wanted me to come in and screen test, I said, well, what about this role? And they said, it's already cast, Candy Clark. And she was brilliant in the part and so much fun to watch. So
I just remember that. And, you talk about, I think, or I've read about the soundtrack of American Graffiti that I just don't. I don't want to make this all about. Back in my day, I really don't want to make it like
kerosene
that.
lanterns and horses and buggies.
60 miles to school.
I walked.
But the albums and having the physical vinyl albums, and you would go to your friend's house and your friend's friend's house, and you go, and everybody had the same albums. It was just American Graffiti. It was, it was Cat Stevens. A lot of people had Peter Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive.
Frampton.
But the American Graffiti, when you talked about the nostalgia of the 50s and that era, that album, it was just such an iconic piece of pop culture, and the movie was iconic as well. And it was just, I remember it's such a, I don't know, it felt like a good time. It was really wonderful.
It seems like the nostalgia train usually is about a 20 to 25 year delay. And so you got the 50s nostalgia in the 70s. But is it not true that American Graffiti had the first soundtrack that was built entirely of real music? It wasn't a score. It was all records from the era.
That's what he and the only artist he could not get the rights to was Elvis.
What a jerk.
Elvis. It wasn't Elvis. It was the Colonel.
Oh, it was the
who
Colonel.
Said no.
Okay.
That's right. Who said niet? And George Lucas, who wrote and directed the film. It was his first film.
Whatever happened to him?
I we have to look that up later, Rob. He described to Ron Howard and myself, when right before we started the film, he described the music in the film as another character, and he described the film as a musical. You'll like this, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And he said because the music will never stop while except for when the source of the music is gone, i.e. the car has been stolen because or it crashes at the end, and
right.
And I just thought that was brilliant.
And being a wannabe DJ back in the days, with Wolfman Jack in there and just having that whole, it was just
that voice from somewhere.
It was
mysterious,
fun.
mystical.
Yeah, and it's just having you on the show. I make a list of films that I want to watch with my daughters and my young son, and I have to remember to add American Graffiti to the list because it's just I think it's a terrific look back. But of course, you know this. You've been dealing with this stardom for your entire career, and that, of course, is Laverne and Shirley, a spin-off of Happy Days, and Gary Marshall pitched them to make a spin-off with you and Penny Marshall, and then kaboom, right? And then everything truly exploded, and your life was never the same after that.
Lightning in a bottle, I guess. Well, Penny and I were writers at the time, pardon me, together, and we and that's when her brother called us and said, I've got these two characters on Happy Days that date the fleet. And I thought that he was talking to Penny. He said, I thought you and Cindy would be right for these characters and come over and play them. And Penny and I had never seen Happy Days. I didn't own a TV at the time, and she wasn't sure about it. I don't think she had watched it because it was right in the beginning of Happy Days. And so we said, sure, and we went over and we played these characters the way we read them, girls who date the fleet. And we were smoking during, our first rehearsal. We came in smoking, chewing gum, fixing each other's bra straps, and then Jerry Paris, and taking each other's pin curls out of each other's hair. And Jerry Paris, who was directing the show at the time, when we first came on, for rehearsal, he said, stop. This is Family Hour. You can't smoke in Family Hour. We had no idea what Family Hour was, and we said, okay. And we flicked the lit cigarettes across the stage at the camera. All hell broke loose, and so we had to tone it down.
So you're talking about joining, and I'm curious about this because I didn't know that. When you guys came in as characters on the original show Happy Days,
right.
Was it just getting moving? So it was relatively soon after Happy Days, or did you guys pop in when it had already become the national phenomenon that I remember it was?
Yes, but it was early on. But yes, because I believe Happy Days also was an overnight hit.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah,
quick.
It may have been the second season of the show.
It was a wonderful time, I remember, there was so much, they call it must-see TV, but there was so much great television during that time, and it was different TV. I probably would get all my dates messed up if I told you, but I seem to remember like All in the Family, and then Mary Tyler Moore, and Laverne and Shirley, and Happy Day. Around that time, all these shows were floating around, and it was just a great time to watch TV.
As a 7-year-old, and I mentioned this to Cindy before the show, when I would plan out my TV viewing of the week, and yes, I did. It started
at 7?
Yeah, it started.
Oh, he's not right, Cindy. He's not.
Not right in the head.
It's not quite normal. You're dealing with somebody right now. I mean, this is Rob. I'm excited to have you on the show. Rob's out of his mind to have you on the show. I have to be honest.
But it started with Tuesday night on ABC because you had that lineup. You had Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, then ultimately Three's Company, and I think Barney Miller. I mean, how do you beat those 2 hours of television?
Yeah, and Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh yeah,
also
that's
on.
right. That's right. I want to remind everybody we're talking to Shirley, Cindy Williams of the book is Shirley I Jest: A Storied Life from Laverne and Shirley. I think I heard you guys talking before we started rolling today about Shirley's doing some stuff here in D.C.
Yeah, she's doing a few book signings. So grab a pen and paper. Today she'll be at the City Club. That's 555 13th Street Northwest. That's at 5:30. Come by and get your book signed. Tomorrow she'll be at Busboys and Pellets. That's in Tacoma Park. What's it?
Poets.
Oh, Busboys and Poets. Yes. Forgive me.
Pellets.
That makes so much more sense.
What did you say? Busboys and Pellets?
Yes. I planned
Busboys and Pellets. Were they going to sell rabbit food there or something? What the hell is it?
He's excited.
I thought it was, for a small, it's larger than a BB gun. Busboys and Poets, of course. How silly of me. Tacoma Park, 6:30 tomorrow. And Thursday she'll be at the American Newswomen Club, and that's at noon. So come on by. That'd be great.
I want to, Cindy, I want to ask you about I did a bit of reading about the history of Laverne and Shirley, and just when I get done with this just little spiel here, stop me and tell me whether I'm full of crap or whether I've got it fairly right here.
All right,
okay?
but you're not going to go on a rant on Facebook about that, are
No,
you?
no. I promise you, I will not do that today. I'm not going to do that. Maybe down the road after you're long gone from the studio, we won't have. So you write a book. Your book is a very nice memoir talking about your life, your career, your relationships. It's not one of those dig the dirt, try to get more attention than you've already gotten by saying crappy things about people. I would be right about that, right?
That's absolutely right.
Now, and the second part of this is, I'm just doing this to set up my question.
Okie dokie.
The second part of this is that after Laverne and Shirley, a lot of the material that came out about that show and behind the scenes and backstage is that you guys were all just bat-ass crazy on that show, that there was stuff going around where they heard screaming from the Happy Days set because you guys were right next door. So where do we and you still have a good relationship with Penny Marshall now,
Oh,
right?
yeah, she's one of my best friends.
You get along with her very, very well, which is very, very cool, especially, I think, for fans of the show, people like that. So where do we meet these two roads of craziness on the set and writing a nice little sweet memoir about your storied life? Is that a question or maybe a statement? I don't know.
It is. It's a long answer to that. However,
okay, go ahead.
To try and be concise, which I can never be, I set about to write just happy things. I did not want any bad thoughts left in the reader's mind when they were about anyone in the book when they put it down. And so I just wanted to write something funny. Perhaps it made people laugh out loud. And that's what. And I had been so blessed being able to have this career and all the doors that opened for me. I'm sure you know about this. Meet all these incredible people in my life and have these incredible adventures with them. And that's what I wanted to write and share with the reader. The stuff that went on Laverne and Shirley, and especially the people who would pick up my book, which I would assume would be fans of the show. Right. They're happy people, and they're in it for the fun. And why would I want to throw people I really, in the end, love with all my heart under the bus to hang out our dirty laundry? Because I'll just say this. Penny and I are both Sicilian, and so there were. Aren't you Irish?
Yes, I'm very,
all right,
very
so
Irish.
that
Yes,
temperament.
you can tell by the monitor in front of you.
I can tell. The pot of gold.
Go ahead, Cindy.
And so we would, and we're very different and very alike, all simultaneously. And and we would have differences, and they'd be major differences and sometimes loud differences. And they go into things that you would have had to have been there. I could never explain to you in 1,000 years because you would have had to have been there. But we did have major differences, and we did yell at each other. But at the same time, we would go out on the stage and be in the same place at the same time. You couldn't slip a playing card in between us. And there was so much respect, in that. And our minds worked alike, and they worked differently, and that worked for the show. I mean, she's very athletic, I'm agile. She can dance, I can sing. We both go about things. We would attack a certain scene, let's say, and I'd come about it slowly, and she'd be right there on the first day. And because of that, things would get, a little crazy. But in the end, we both wanted to make people laugh, and we had to do that together. So
I think you can watch the show, and that comes through. Something that fascinated me when I read it was that, and you can tell me whether it's true or not, that many, many times regarding rehearsals, there wouldn't be a rehearsal before you guys would jump in, and that the words "wing it" might be used. And if that is true, not only do I think that's kind of cool, but I think it actually speaks to your ability and your talent combined with Penny Marshall. And I want to know, was that true? Were there some times where you just riffed in that form, which was unusual to do that for sitcoms at that time?
Not a lot, but we would, if the script would come in and it wasn't to our liking, this was another reason we'd get in trouble and there'd be screaming. We would change it. because we were writers ourselves, we'd change it, and we wouldn't even ask the writers. And this is horrible, and I apologize if anyone wrote on Laverne and Shirley and is listening to the Mike O'Mara show.
They all do.
And I'm sure they all do.
And, they all do, yes. Constant. Comedy writers across the country.
But we would, and we'd change things during rehearsal, and the show was constantly changing because we shot it in 5 days. In 1 day, but we rehearsed for 4 days,
Wow.
5 days before that. So it was like a stage play. We had an audience, over 200 people come in on the final day, and we ran the show from beginning to end. And there would be times we just wouldn't know our lines. I mean, I'd turn to her before we'd be off stage and we were supposed to enter, and I'd say, "Do you know your lines?" She go, "No." "You know yours?" I said, "No." And they say, "Action!" And we just go out there. And I remember there were times where I'd think, only Jesus can make this joke work. And I have to pray really hard. And I know Penny felt the same way, but our egos wouldn't allow us to not make it, at least try to make it funny. And sometimes the script wouldn't come in funny, and we just try in our most earnest way to make it funny. And sometimes we would riff. But hopefully, there were only a couple times I caught it on the show that we were off script, and we added things here and there.
Okay,
but
all
not
right, that's
much.
a good answer.
Not
all right.
much.
You didn't do it that much. Yes, go ahead, Rob.
One thing Mike talks about on this show, and I think we all try our best to, is to commit. And I watched a lot of clips of you guys last night. Especially, I didn't remember so much physical comedy. And you mentioned that you're agile and that Penny was athletic. When you would go in and commit to doing those physical bits, when you're up in the air or hanging on a wall or hung on a coat hook, did you come up with any of that action, or was that handed to you, or how did that come around?
Well, Rob, the coat hook was Penny's idea. She goes, "I just see us on a hook." And you could say anything to Gary Marshall, and you could say, "I want to flip quarters with my tongue." And he'd go, "Well, write a show about it." And they would. And the whole show would lead to that one physical bit about flipping quarters. We didn't do that. Show. But I wanted to do a scarf dance. I wanted to do this. I said, "I just want to dance with a scarf." What I wanted was, and I didn't communicate it correctly, was a large, that scarf dance that is in Music Man, where they do one Grecian, two Grecian with the ladies. And that's kind of what and they wrote this scarf dance for me.
Flitting around the soundstage there.
But they just would write in the script, you'll like this, Mike, they would just write scarf dance, Shirley scarf dances, and I would invent it. During rehearsal.
How much fun is a performer? My God.
The girls are hung on hooks and by a bad guy. Yeah. And then Penny and I would invent it. And the way we did that one was we brought in a big mirror, and they hung us on the hook during rehearsal, and we saw all the funny things we could do, like trying to run off the hook.
It was so
and
great.
we said, make it so we cannot get off this hook. Don't let it be easy to get off this hook. So they did. And we were on that. And then we actually really tried to get off the hook. And that's what made the physical comedy so funny.
Is it hard for you over the years? And I think I've asked this of other people that have had amazing success in series television. When you become identified with a character, when you are completely associated with Shirley, all the time, wherever you go, and for years and years and years. I would imagine inevitably that would be frustrating. You seem to handle it with a tremendous amount of grace. I have seen performers who did not handle it, did not like to be associated with it. What is the key to that? And what would you tell people that might have a problem with being identified with their characters on a successful TV program?
Are you kidding me? It's a blessing from God. And
okay.
and it's not like I played Hannibal Lecter, So people don't expect that from me. They expect, they come at me with their fun self, and it's the best part, and with their humor, and it's just a blessing all the way around. I did lose parts because I was too identified.
Princess Leia was a part that you lost, right?
Well,
didn't you audition?
But not
you auditioned for that, right?
I did. Wow. But I had a dream. I write about it in the book. I had a dream that George was looking at me, and he was looking at this young girl who was playing with dolls, and he said, "I like her." And I knew that the part was going to be, and I didn't know Carrie at the time. but I knew that he was going to give the part to a younger girl. And that's what he had always intended. He had intended for like 14-year-olds to play Han Solo.
Okay,
well,
I
Han
didn't know
Solo
that.
was going to be like 16, and Luke and Princess Leia and all those characters. He wanted very young kids to play those parts in the beginning.
You
Did I
worked
answer
with,
that?
I understand
Okay.
exactly what you're saying.
All
He
right.
wanted to skew it a little
Yeah.
bit younger. You work with so many of these, and you have to put them both in different categories, but they're both geniuses. Gary Marshall and George Lucas, and these type of guys seem to be gravitate to you a bit. I would imagine Gary Marshall has always been one of the most fascinating people,
larger than life, man.
in media.
You
I mean, I
think?
just even when you I wish the only thing I wish for Gary Marshall we had seen more of him on camera. Anybody that wants to know Gary Marshall, check out a movie called Lost in America with Albert Brooks and Gary Marshall as the casino boss. It is one of the fracturingly funny scenes on film. And apparently, from what I've read about Gary Marshall, he's kind of that way behind the scenes, too. Well, how you are? What you doing?
Yeah.
Come on. It's all like that.
The whole thing with Gary is never be around him when he eats, because he eats with his mouth open. You never want him to order an egg salad sandwich. That's all I have to say about Gary. But Gary is phenomenal. I mean, you're absolutely right. Geniuses, both of them. You know why? G names.
That's
so
it?
always,
G-names.
we're out of luck,
Man.
all of us.
That's true.
That's not gonna
so
work.
and then you have Penny, who goes on to have tremendous success with movies like Big,
Right?
And they have this ability to kind of figure things out. I would imagine, and I'm not asking you to dish any dirt here, but I'm curious: would they butt heads, brother and sister style, in back in the days of Laverne and Shirley, because because of the closeness?
No,
They didn't butt heads,
No,
no.
never. Mm-mm.
Really?
No.
They just would they collaborate a lot, or would he just like present the stuff? I'm interested the way
You mean
Gary
on
Marshall
Laverne and
used to work.
Shirley?
Yeah, Laverne and Shirley.
No. Gary was very respectful of his sister. He understood. He has an eye for talent, and he knew his sister was talented like that. That she had a bigger than life talent, and he championed it all the way from, he had his sister's back, and she his, and there was no that. He'd get mad at Penny and me, down on the set every now and then.
Come on, what are you doing? Learn your lines.
No.
Come on,
Gary,
let's go.
Gary's a very affable fellow,
Okay, he's mellower than he would seem as characters, right?
Yeah, and if you watch Laverne and Shirley, if you're a Gary Marshall actor fan or a fan of his acting, watch Laverne and Shirley, and always in the talent show, see who the drummer is in the band.
Oh, no
it's
kidding.
It's always Gary, yeah. He's the
That's
drummer in the band.
fantastic. Cool. We are talking with Cindy Williams. The book is available at Amazon.com. Surely I Jest, a storied life. I don't know whether you want to talk about this because you want to keep it on the high road. But when you left Laverne and Shirley, not under the best terms, you had to play hardball with the powers that be. Was that a difficult time in your life when you had to? You got pregnant, right?
Right.
You got pregnant, and you left the show in the. Is it the 9th season or the 8th season?
Eighth.
I'm trying. The 8th season.
The bottom of the 8th.
And then
the bottom of the 8th, Mike.
I don't know a lot about this. It's just from a little bit from what I've read.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to play hardball with them to extricate yourself from that situation? You wanted to move on at that point, right?
Well, that isn't exactly right. They gave me my final season contracts, and they had me. And I was pregnant, and they had me working on my due date. And I said, shooting a show, actually, on the day I was due to deliver my baby. And I said, oh, fellas, this might not work. And I thought we were going to do wraparound shows, which means I come in the beginning, and then the rest of the cast does the bulk of the show. And then I come in at the end, and they hide my pregnancy. But I was one of the first actresses to be pregnant, and doing a high-profile show. And they didn't know what to do with me. That's what I figured in the end. And so it just went back and forth, and I couldn't sign the contract. And finally, I push left. You know, I mean, they kind of...
You sued the bastards, Cindy. You sued the bastards.
Well,
That's it. Those sons of bitches that used you like a toilet, you sued them. That's what it was, right? That's the fact. They deserved what they got.
And I believe that's a quote from the book, isn't it?
Incidentally, that's Mike O'Mara speaking.
Mike, I want you going on Facebook this afternoon and tell them just that.
Mike, I have a quick question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, real quick. Go ahead.
A quick compliment and a quick question. One, my compliment to you is your show has transcended generations, especially in syndication. One of my fondest memories is watching your show with my mother. We were immigrants to this country, and we'd watch it together on the
Don't
local
say
Fox.
you learned English.
No, we didn't. We didn't. But I remember sitting, and I would sit at the end of the bed, and I would always change the channels for her. But every time we landed on your show, she said, we have to watch.
Oh,
that's
so we'd
cool.
sit there and
what
watch.
a compliment. Thank you,
So that's
Rob.
one. And two, I wanted to ask you about what you think today's state of Hollywood is.
No, Oscar.
Yeah,
it's
fine. It's fine.
Sorry.
Today's state of Hollywood is so overexposed. When you were, really, when Laverne and Shirley hit, what was it like to walk out on the street? And because being a star today is so, it's kind of like, oh, I've seen you on TV, I've seen you on the internet. But being a star then, you would really see, they would see Cindy on TV, and then if they saw Cindy on the street, it'd be huge. It'd be a moment, a big moment.
Well, Penny and I had no idea of the success of the show or how many people it reached in the beginning because we were working on the show. And we thought it was going to be 4 on, 4 off because the ABC had picked it up for 4 shows on the air. Penny and I just thought, oh, well, we'll get our money for 4 shows and then we'll be out of here.
Wow.
And then it became this phenomenon, overnight success. And I remember us looking on a table, and there was a Wall Street Journal. It was just me and Penny on the soundstage, and one of the writers had left it, and the headline was, Laverne and Shirley send ABC stocks through roof. And I said, what do you think that means? And she goes, through the roof. Anyway, but we had no idea, and we were on the soundstage for the first I started to say semester, for the first season, thank you, of the show. And the first time we really got out was to go, and we never clubbed. People said, oh, you must have clubbed. We went home to sleep after. But we were in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and we were on this float, and we were coming down the street, and this crowd started running toward us, and we looked behind us to see who they were running toward, and they were running toward us, and that was the first time we said, whoa, this is something. Wow. And then we had people outside the hotel for our autographs, and Penny and I had never, that was the first experience, but the fans of Laverne and Shirley are so wonderful and have the greatest senses of humor about themselves and, just everything, and they're just the greatest people. So it was always a blessing and an honor to have, that audience.
Perfect.
So Last question I want to ask you, and I ask this because maybe because we got involved in a book project ourselves, but I'm curious about this. Anybody who buys this book, what do you want them to get out of this book? What know about you, know about your career? What do you want people to read this book to? What kind of ride do you want them to have? I want them to have the same ride I had with all my adventures in life, and I set about to try and take the reader with me, and I was just hoping, honestly, to entertain the reader. That was it. There was nothing, there was no personal message except come on this adventure with me. It was I see it the same way you would have seen it if you were right here with me. Well, that's wonderful.
It's a great book. It's a wonderful book.
Shirley, A Storied Life. And the last thing I will say to you is that when we talked about American Graffiti at the beginning, we'll talk about there was a teenage boy in Glastonbury, Connecticut that watched American Graffiti, and you really did entertain me.
Easy.
I'm sorry. I don't mean it in that bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please.
Blue humor. Don't put that on Facebook.
Sorry.
God, everything was going so well.
Get it at Amazon.com. Shirley A Storied Life. I know you got to get to your TV interview. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mike.
Wisconsin Avenue
Oscar. Thank
Studios.
You.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mike.
And the way we do it, thank you. That's Cindy Williams, everybody. And what a fun trip that was. I enjoyed that.
Great.
We will take a break. When we come back on the Mike O'Mara Show, more fun and more thrills right here.
Fun that is. You guys get to do that every day.
Hi, this is a random listener, and I've been doing a lot of thinking lately about Rob's Beeswax bag. Rob loves a lot of things, but what he loves more than anything is having listeners fill up his bag week after week with wonderful messages. Would you be a sweetie and drop Rob a message for his bag? Send it right along to rob@mikeomerashow.com. Don't forget the 2 B's. Then every Wednesday, who knows, Rob might reach into his bag and pluck out a message from Y-O-U. Please, help Rob with his bag. I've been drinking a lot tonight.
That was pretty cool, Mike.
It's kind of cool. And you mean that promo or the interview with Cindy Williams?
Well, I like them both, but if I had to rank them, I'd put Cindy Williams above the promo.
Welcome back to the Mike O'Mara Show. It's getting hot outside. Wouldn't it be nice to keep the cool inside and save on your AC bills? I want to tell you about Blinds.com. Speaking of staying cool inside, it is hot as you know what down here in Florida.
Yeah, well, here too.
And I will tell you this, since I put my new blackout shades in my bedroom from Blinds.com, that is the coolest room in the house. I installed my own shutters, if you remember that, in the kitchen using Blinds.com and their how-to videos. Then I got a professional installer to help me out with the shades that I put in the bedroom, and they set me up with it. I've got a personal guy over there at Blinds.com that you can get too. His name is Josh. You might not get Josh. You'll get somebody else, but it's fantastic. I want you to try Blinds.com. They will do everything to make your experience the best ever. You can hurry over to Blinds.com where you'll find great discounts all the time with your favorite brands and upgrades on sale. You have to see the value that's waiting for you. As always, get free color samples, free shipping, and free expert decorator advice, plus prices that crush store prices. Best of all, customer service that will genuinely make you smile. These guys love their job, and you'll love them right back. Blinds.com, as seen in Mike O'Mara's Florida home. That's what it said. Did you write that?
I did. You know what?
Mike O'Mara's Florida home. Thank you so
they
much.
They have
I
new copy that
appreciate
starts
it.
next week. I think I might upgrade it to a manse, which is not quite a mansion, but it's just your Florida manse.
Something that never happened to me doing an interview. It never happened. And Pony, move that mic boom down so I can see Oscar, please. Thank you.
Yes.
The fact is that, okay, I read about her. I knew she was coming in. She's a TV icon, Laverne and Shirley, one of the massive television series of all time. And I knew she was coming into the studio. She comes into the studio, and I'm watching her during the studio, and suddenly, through this camera, this high-definition camera, I remember I have a flashback to American Graffiti, and I remembered, and then last night I'd watched a clip of probably one of the later episodes of Laverne and Shirley, and I remembered that I have just a tiny little, I
think everybody got that, Mike.
Well, I know they got that, but it did. But I didn't really.
I didn't for that one.
Well, no, I didn't track it. I didn't track it until she was in there, and I just remember. And it's that girl next door, but not girl. She's a totally unique-looking person.
I can guess the scene. There's a scene that she's about to break up with Ron Howard, but there's still elected or selected prom king and queen in American Graffiti, and they're dancing. And there's a shot of her where she's sad but still dancing with him that she comes off as so sexy.
Yes.
And it stays, it's burned in my brain. That is pretty awesome.
She's got
what a great attitude too.
That's the way to do it. Maybe I can learn a few things from her. I mean, that's the way.
What happened last night? I didn't see what
remember
happened.
when you were giving me crap about Ludacris
breaking
yesterday?
balls, yeah.
And so I got pissed at that during the show, and then people feed on that, and so I shouldn't do that. And then they feed on that, and then they post about it and said, and he goes, Ludacris had all these albums, and you don't know about that, but I guess he's not a superstar. And I'm like, F you, F-ball, F.
Mike, was there blocking?
BS, F, yes, immediate blocking.
But it wasn't to a point where you set out an APB where we should block the person, too.
I don't do that after Oscar gave me the crap about it. I don't do that. My own wife gave me crap about that. You can't get people to unfriend people.
Mike, I always considered it an honor and a privilege. I love
you handle it. As a matter of fact, the way you handle it is probably you block and unfriend more people than anyone on the show.
Absolutely.
And nobody ever talks about it. They just
go through
vanish.
With a scythe,
So
Mike. It's like the children of the corn.
Yeah, you do it like the secret police in a South American country. You do that where it's like in the middle of the night. People will just be sleeping. It's like, oh, I'm Rob's friend, having a good night. Rob's friend. Who is it? Come with us. You're unfriended, and you're going out into the pit. We're going to dump you in the pit. So
now, I used to write when they would do it and piss me off. I used to write right before I do it. I used to write, "Hope it was worth it."
Oh,
but I don't do that anymore. But what I do like now is usually about
nice
a month later.
Gift.
Yeah, a little parting shot is when I get a private message that says, "Why?" I say, frankly, I don't remember, but it was something.
Well, you're a passionate man, Mike. There's no
but I'm a
problem.
passionate man, but it really everything when you burn hot like I do, everything with that I have to take time, and it seems like certain things take more time than others. When I reflect on what I have done, it doesn't make me any happier. True. And it doesn't. And so, can I just tell you what I wrote here on the fan page? All right. I said yesterday on this page, I dropped a bit of nasty lingo. I wanted to share with all of you that I will try not to engage with people who push my buttons on this page, since it ultimately serves no purpose. I take what I do personally, and on this page, I can directly respond to critics and haters, no matter how small the nitpicking is. But I believe I should no longer do that. While I will maintain my pettiness on TMOS, I will try my best to avoid being petty in this forum. The number of supporters here is overwhelming, and I am truly grateful to have a page with so many who really care about all of us. I will still look in and share the good stuff, but as of today, I will be disengaging from the negative. Thanks for the support. Now, this is what's something that now you're shaking your head like I won't disengage from the support. I'm really trying to have a moment here, Rob. I'm really trying to have a moment here.
There's two things at play here. First off, the first two sentences of that missive sounds like you're about to hang yourself.
Yeah, like you're saying goodbye.
Yeah, it's like it's over. But I don't know that it can ever really be a clean break. You can be the best you can be, but
all
ire
of the
is going
fan
to get up. You're going to get your ire up.
All of the fan pages throughout my career
Yes.
that I've been associated with have eventually they have gone in a direction where they turn. And it gets at where and really,
Mike,
we're at that stage.
Death.
But
they love the bunny.
But wait a minute. But the fan page now is populated by more people than it ever has been, and it is the people that probably squeak the most and bring the negative get the attention, just like all of social media. True. People that write nice, sweet things don't get any attention on social media. But I said I will try. I know I will still look in, but what I did yesterday was I get to a point where I just want to say, I just want to lash out.
Well, you did,
and I did, yeah. and it doesn't do anything. It
That's
doesn't do me any good.
No,
it doesn't do me any good at all.
Yeah.
It really does. Oscar does this thing where you kind of play with them like a kitten with a ball of yarn, but you'll engage when you get pissed too. But not as Mine was just kind of an irrational, like you say. Well, I'm trying to explain the circumstance. F you. I don't want to hear about it. F you. And so
I think people understand, Mike.
I really meant that when I said I'm going to try. Am I going to be successful? I have no idea. I still might. Something might really light my candle. But the fan page for us is where we look in occasionally for promoting events we're doing.
Sure.
We also look and some people go that route to talk about an issue they might have technically. I don't like it when they do that because they have many ways of contacting us directly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it gets the larger it gets, it becomes its own little monster.
But
and
you know what?
that's where we
There are
right
actual good parts about it. There was a thread on the fan page last night. What are you going to miss about Letterman?
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I
like
love
that.
to see the common interest because if they're on the fan page, they share this show in common. So there's some part of their brain.
There's some positive there, Mike.
Well, no, there's overwhelmingly
there.
positive. The
Yes.
place is an overwhelmingly positive place. That's another thing. I spotlight the negatives, and it takes everybody else that's just there to hang out and talk about what they like about the show. It, I think, diminishes the experience for them. So I mean that. We have to take a break because we went long with Ms. Williams. When we come back, I'm going to bring something up that's kind of on my mind, and it's weird, and it concerns motorcycle riding. And I'll throw it out at you guys, and it might catch you by surprise. We'll take a break, come back with more on the Mike O'Mara Show. Welcome back to the show. Whoa. If you're responsible for your company's website or IT security, we've been talking to you for a couple of weeks now about SiteLock. You need to listen to this message. How much would it cost your business if your website went down? Would you still have a job if you let hackers get into your website? It's not a matter of if, but it's when. So listen up. This is everywhere on the interwebs, ladies and gentlemen. SiteLock is the global leader in website security, and they make your website fast and secure. SiteLock True Speed Content Delivery increases your website speed by 50% on average. So not only can they protect you, but they can speed you up. SiteLock's True Shield firewall blocks both network and application DDoS attacks with automatic triggering, which means your site stays up and running even during an attack. Now, you're smirking. Did I get it right?
You got it
DDoS,
exactly
baby.
right. But we were leaving the show yesterday, and Pony said, I never thought I'd hear Mike talk about DDoS.
Pony, does it excite you? Does it excite you
excited.
when I talk about DDoS?
Oh, absolutely, Mike. That's my forte, the internet security, and it's nice to have a client that is all about it.
Well, nothing beats their 24/7 U.S.-based phone support as well. Don't be the next company that's in the news for being hacked. You may not recover from it. Call or visit SiteLock, SiteLock.com. SiteLock currently protects over 5 million websites. To get your first month of SiteLock free, go to SiteLock.com, click the banner at the top right corner, and enter TMOS. That's SiteLock.com. Click the banner and enter TMOS, or call them right now at 844-598-0600. That's 844-598-0600. Didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday. I'll talk about it today.
Okay.
I'm coming up to D.C. this week, and Memorial Day weekend. We're going to get out there Sunday to Jimmy's for the big Memorial Day bash.
You know, you are actually bringing good weather.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
You never do that.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. Usually, a Memorial Day weekend can be hot as balls around Washington, D.C., so it's very, very cool to be up there. Huge biker war down in Waco, Texas, with I think 8 or 9 guys getting shot to death and knifed and chains and all that horrible stuff. And it made me pause because every Rolling Thunder, when we bring all these wonderful people in on their motorcycles to celebrate the veterans, specifically the Vietnam veterans. That's how it all started. For Rolling Thunder, they're going to be bikers all over D.C. And I had this weird thought. I went and I looked at my vest, which is a biker vest, and I suddenly felt a little silly because when you look at all this culture of bikers, and you look at, say, a motorcycle gang, and you see a group like the Banditos or the Cossacks or the Outlaws or the Hells Angels, and you look and they've got the rocker on the back and they've got the motorcycle club and then the state that they're from.
Right.
And then you look at all of us that wear these little biker vests, and I said to my wife, I said, you know what, bikers, Oscar, people that ride, I said...
The weekend bikers.
Or the people that join little biker organizations.
You're part of Mike's Bikes.
We like to call them the silver goatee crowd.
The silver goatee, but isn't it all... I just said to her, I said, I feel after watching this, I feel a little weird about wearing the colors, because... this whole thing to me, and look, I'm probably still going to do it.
Sure.
But at the same time, aren't we just kind of all trying to look like those badass guys with our leather vests? We are.
I don't
know. We are.
I
Come
think
on.
here is your out, Mike, and you know that I am not a motorcycle guy, but I love the fact that you love your motorcycle. My father bought a bike last year, so I'm not against it. It's just not my scene. When I see you with those patches on your vest, and first of all, you wear leather not because you want to be sexy. You wear leather because it's protective when you're on a bike, right?
And I'm sexy in
I know.
anything I
Hey, and
wear.
thanks for bringing it back. I'd want
Thanks
to
a lot.
tell you that.
Yeah,
but when you wear those patches, when I see patches on you, Mike, I kind of equate it to a station wagon that says this car climbed the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
It's you're showing the events you went to. When you look at a gang biker mentality, when they're going to knife somebody because their vest says Texas, that's really not what you're about.
I know it's not what I'm about, but I'm saying that the entire culture, the culture of I think it's all a wannabe. Yeah. I hate to say this. I'm going to piss people off that I ride with. It's a wannabe deal. Of course it is. See the guys that wear this, that are riding in formation. This comes from, as much as people might not want to talk about it, it comes from that space.
It springs from
That's
it,
where
sure.
it started.
Yeah.
And it's like we all ride together with tough little expressions, and we all got our our mean little looks and our bandanas.
But
And
true
it's
or
an
false?
outlaw. It's an outlaw vibe. It is. That's the fact.
That's
and,
that's like saying that a kid playing Cowboys and Indians has an outlaw vibe.
That's what we're doing. But that's what we're doing. We're
But-
adults playing cowboy and Indians. That's exactly what we're doing.
But don't you know that bikers, as the community, and you can look at the schedule, they do more for charity. I'm talking about weekend bikers, not the guys that are out there kniving each other.
I'm not
knifing,
dissing the
which would it be?
biker.
Well, he's
people.
not. I think you, look, and I can't speak for you, Mike, but what I'm getting from what you're saying is
Rob, by the way, is making this so much worse for me trying to talk about this. He's making me feel. It's like suddenly Rob is defending the whole biker
he said
culture.
gang
and I'm the one
bikers.
that's
It's fine. It's biker gang, and if there are
It was gang, bikers for when you alphabetize.
How about biker gang culture? How about biker
Okay,
gang
very
culture?
good. I'll
which
take
is
that.
what we're talking about here.
is, and I get this as well, because look, for the novice, or maybe that someone's not in the know, that doesn't know that there's so many great charities, like the charities that we meet at Jimmy's, or the rides that we've been on or put on ourselves.
Yeah, put on
there's
rides
so
ourselves.
many great people out there that really ride for riding, for the passion of riding.
And I love it too. And ultimately, I would never get off my bike because I like that. But I think the whole look.
If you watch the news and you don't know any better, and you're not part of this family here, you don't know. If you see Mike with his colors on and you see the news, you're like, well, that kind of looks like what Mike wears. You don't know any better. You just don't know.
Because if you didn't know, you might get a little confused.
Yes.
You see a guy, a big fat guy with a leather vest and chains walking in with his jeans with a bandana on. You don't have any clue. That is a great point. You don't really know.
When you started this, you were just talking about patches. Now you have chains. Come on.
Well, no, you mean I have changed that.
Look,
Everybody's got
when
change,
he's got his colors on, his vest, his leather vest.
Sure.
I remember when you rolled up to WJFK one day, and I didn't recognize you. You were on your bike, and he didn't roll in slow. He came in hot.
No, I've heard.
And I was like,
I have
because I used to set the car alarms off in the
Mike
WJFK
Mike would
parking
set
lot.
car alarms off when he'd park. It was fun.
It was fun to do, especially Tony Diggs. I would go like that, and Tony Diggs' car alarm would go. And he's like,
I got to go down and reset that whole goddamn thing. Get out my goddamn way.
Did he ever know that I did that on purpose?
No, and you know what else used to set off car alarms is when we'd get those quarter stick of dynamite firecrackers. That would do it too.
So I would sit there, and I was like, "Who the f is this guy?" But it was you. I didn't recognize you.
Yeah.
And I think I think the point I want, and it's not insidious. It's not malicious. But let's make no mistake about it that the kind of look that we all have is because we want to be the badasses. We want. I think it comes from that to a certain extent.
It works for some people, not all people though.
Not all, but he never wears that. He never. He wear. I got him like a Harley jacket for his birthday a couple of years ago.
I remember last year he wore an apron, didn't he?
he wears
covered in wing sauce.
Jimmy basically wears one of the his tie-dyed T-shirts and puts that stupid goose on the back of his bike.
Oh, the John Goose!
Man,
How dare you?
I swear, I've ridden across the country with him. But there is that whole vibe of that, and it just made look. The only thing I'm doing here is I'm just venting a little bit because it made me feel a little bit weird because I would imagine if you're somebody that rolls out on a Sunday and you say, was it a Saturday or Sunday that this happened? I forgot which day. It was Sunday, I think.
It's Sunday because it broke on Monday.
So you
Sunday,
roll out,
Sunday.
yeah, and we're going to go to that place that we tried to go when we were driving down
Twin
to Florida
Peaks,
one year,
baby.
Twin Peaks. We're going to roll down there and, on our bikes, and hey, we heard there might be some motorcycle gang. I just think that it's just a weird vibe. It's a weird vibe when you see the guys that are, and I agree with the 99% of people that ride motorcycles are not involved in this criminal element, but at the same time, it all kind of springs from that. And listen, folks, you got to own it a little bit. You got to own it just a little bit.
And
it really does.
This also goes for like crotch rockets, right?
Sure.
If you're on the road, and just I think 4 or 5 months ago, a story broke where somebody was on some turnpike in New York and
got the crap
a couple
out
got
of his
attacked,
car,
right?
in a Range Rover.
So, but these
are
all street bikes, and when I see street bikes in a pack on the Beltway, I move over.
Oh, I give
I
them
don't
all
want
the
a
room,
deal.
yeah.
It's not my problem. I don't have, but they could just be in part of a motorcycle club.
Speaking
I don't
of
know.
street bikes, Oscar, I watch street bikes and crotch rockets, whichever way you want to call it. But I just pray in my adult life that I don't see what I really do eventually expect to see, which is the way those guys, especially when they're on individual bikes, drive between traffic, going 80 miles an hour on a highway. Popping wheelies, that kind of crap. I hope I never see that. It's funny, though, when you watch some of the viral videos, it's pretty amazing the way they survive.
Oh, yeah.
You ever see the viral video of the guy on the crotch rocket that is going 90 miles an hour, rear ends a car, flips over in the air, and lands on the top of that car?
Yeah.
It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, it's common if you're coming in on Route 66 or the Beltway and the traffic is moving maybe 25 miles an hour because it's rush hour, and you hear, and when they pass you and they're going literally 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, it looks like science fiction. It doesn't even look real.
Yep. And the first time it ever happened to me was on the Golden Gate Bridge, the year I got engaged to Carla.
God.
About a million years ago. We were out there, and I could not believe the amount of space that these bikes left between bumpers of cars going the aforementioned, and I'm not going 90. They were going 90 miles an hour. It was ridiculous.
Spatial awareness.
I want to mention that tomorrow on the show we are going to be joined by Alan Coulter, the announcer for Late Show with David Letterman, and it's going to be a very, very special time. I'm really, really looking forward to that. It's going to be so much fun to catch his mood and what he's feeling this week. Just amazing, really.
Did you stay up and watch Tom Hanks last night?
Yeah.
I was troubled.
What's wrong with
Hanks? Good. What happened?
He's manic. He was as manic as I've ever seen him on the show.
He tried too hard. His material was good, but I think he oversold it. You know what?
Does he do that, Rob? You're a connoisseur of the show more than I am. Does he do that every time?
Not that
he's
bad,
on?
but that's kind of his deal. But
it's like the whole time he's like this, David. I got to tell you right there, he's doing this whole thing where it's now. Wait a minute, I've got a paper here that I'm getting out there, and I'm going to put this here.
You can get by on that show at 85 to 88%, and he was going at 120 the whole time, and he was the only guest.
And he did it every single break. Did you find? I'm so glad you felt this way.
Tiresome.
I wanted him to take a deep breath and just chill ever so slightly.
Well,
it was a weird vibe.
I wanted to have one break of him being sincere. And we didn't get it. We got 5 really well prepared stories, really good ones. And he take some time out to joke about the fact that he was promoting his new Dan Brown movie, but he still promoted his new Dan Brown movie. And he's got such a history with Dave.
Right.
I would have liked to have seen a quieter, more reflective interview, but he was going way too fast. And also,
the other thing I want to ask you about is he brings the entire staff out for the top 10 list, including Alan Coulter and Paul Schaefer. My question to Rob, do you think that was really his goodbye to them? Do you think that? Because I'll ask Alan Coulter about that.
Yeah.
Is that going to be it? Is that the way?
It was the first time I've ever seen him put his hand on Pat Farmer's shoulder, so it was pretty sincere.
That might be it. You mentioned before about bringing sexy back.
Yeah.
The same lost weekend that I had down in the Keys.
I don't even know how funny it is that you call it your lost weekend.
The lost weekend in the Keys. And I get down there.
Funny.
Thank you.
I get down there, and did I tell you guys about the fact that there was this? There are these 2 women there. I think they were there for a wedding, and my wife was in the pool with my son. And I come loping down to the pool with my fantastic Tommy Bahama bathing trunks on, and that I've had for a million years. And in various stages of tightness, I will say they're quite loose now.
Lots of room in the seat, Mike, and that's the way you want them.
Lots of room in the seat. And I used the same line. That I used on nurses when I was in the hospital. They cracked up at these biatches, didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I looked in, and I sit there, and they're both bikini clad, extremely attractive women. They're lying down. They're chatting amongst themselves, and I said the same line. I said, I know what you're thinking. Who's bringing sexy back? And usually that would be...
kill?
That would be... No, I looked at them, and I got the total... that was all I got. And then I was really mad. But then again, I realized that after they were not engaged with anyone at the pool or my young son, if you're going to, when you have these little poolside chaise lounge things that are side by side, we're human beings. I like to interact with my fellow.
On vacation, you just want to hang out and be left alone.
Wanted to chill a little bit.
You went from delighted and funny to angry. At any point,
feeling good. It was what it was the entree into removing my shirt.
I see.
And I because I'm feeling a little self-conscious.
You had to do the
yes,
pre-production.
exactly. You know, Rob, make the fat joke
Yeah, of course.
to somehow
Diffuse
take
it.
the pain away from how disgusting your own body looks, right? And so that's what it's all about.
At any point, did you feel shades in your subconscious of, oh my God, I was just creepy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the
Oh,
question.
yeah.
Did I get to a certain age where I'm just too creepy an old man? And I did that. And then I got into the pool, and Michael was there, and I remember walking up to Carla, and I looked over at my shoulder, and I said, see those two? Bitches. Anyway.
And then
trying to be
Michael
creepy.
gave his first fist bump.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Right, Pops.
He's doing that, actually. We'll take a break. Come back with news you may not need. This is the Mike O'Mara Show.
Hi, this is the internet's Steve Mermelstein. Perhaps you know me from the Americast, where Marcus Serta serves as my sidekick. But I'm here to tell you about another podcast, Cake and Cookies. Cake and Cookies has Rob Spiewak and Katie Von Herman, and I never miss an episode. It's an important part of my well-balanced podcast listening diet. Besides, I love Katie, and Rob loves me. It's a strange love triangle, but you can truly feel the magic in the air. Cake and Cookies. Subscribe on iTunes or listen on the TMOS app. Mermelstein, out.
Cake and Cookies. Rob and Katie. It's the Rob and Katie Show.
Not a single edit on that promo, Mike. I want to say new Cake and Cookies drops today. Katie and I haven't drank this much on an episode in a long time.
Oh, boy.
Nice.
Oh, boy. Check that out. It must be something in the air. Springtime. Welcome back to the Mike O'Mara Show, brought to you by Sleep Number. There are a lot of bed commercials I've been seeing down here in South Florida, and I smugly smile every time I see them because I realize that the product that I have in my bedroom, ladies and gentlemen, my Sleep Number bed, is a product I am going to have for an extraordinarily long time. I've already gotten the best. I need not look anywhere else. I love it. It is one of my prized possessions. I will take it with me to the home when I am eventually put in there because I love it so bad. I told you that my Sleep Number bed is really the ultimate health aid for me because I sleep like a baby with it. Let me give you the numbers again. My Sleep Number is an 85. Carlos is a 65. They have Sleep IQ technology that now even makes your sleep even better because they track it for you. There's nothing to wear, nothing to turn on. My Sleep Number setting again is an 85 and Carlos is a 65. You can get into a Sleep Number store right now and save $500 on a Sleep Number Memorial Day special edition bed with Sleep IQ technology. No better sleep. Find your Sleep Number setting today at any of the 450 Sleep Number stores nationwide. Find one near you by calling 800-511-0061. And don't forget to lay a finger on the side of your nose. I don't like saying that anymore.
Okay, well,
how about don't forget to just smile and tell them I sent you. Michael.
All right, good enough.
Can you do that for the love of God?
News.
Boo. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Egad, oh, no.
Bristol Palin was supposed to get married to a guy in Kentucky this coming Saturday. His name is Dakota Meyer. He is a Medal of Honor recipient.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday, Sarah Palin announced on her Facebook page, which is kind of weird, that it's not happening. This is the quote from Sarah, not Bristol. Bristol and Dakota have informed loved ones that unfortunately the announced celebration planned for May 23rd will not be held. So I
read the post. She said that the wedding wasn't a go and that if anyone wanted to play Candy Crush Saga, to please direct message her.
Some tabloid websites are saying that the wedding is off because Dakota is still married to his last wife.
Oh, that'll slow things down. The paperwork alone.
Bristol, though, out of the politicians, I guess,
daughters,
kids are overall one of the best-looking politicians, childs I've ever seen.
Really,
in a really dumb way, though. The dumbness to me comes through like too much.
Take aside the politics, right? If you just
the intellect,
but just take aside the politics. Since JFK, I probably haven't seen someone this good-looking that's in politics.
Hotter than Amy Carter.
Yes, clearly.
Don't besmirch my Amy. Don't you do that.
Oh, Amy.
I didn't realize she was this attractive till the story broke yesterday. I was like, what does she look like these days? Jeez.
Well, mom's no slouch. We can all agree with that.
True.
I mean, mom's a bit of a
And
hottie.
Waylon loves a good piece of tail.
Waylon. Bill O'Reilly recently lost a bitter 3-year custody battle with his ex-wife, Maureen McPhilmy, when she was awarded She was awarded custody of their 2 children. Documents in the case are sealed, but a so-called source says the evidence included testimony that Bill dragged her down a staircase by her neck.
Not okay.
While his young daughter watched. The girl's 16 now and told the story to a court-appointed forensic examiner. Bill didn't know she was watching, and it happened sometime before Bill and Maureen split in 2010. Bill issued a statement, very surprising, saying, "All allegations against me in this circumstance are 100% false. I'm going to respect the court-mandated confidentiality put in place to protect my children and will not comment on any further." I won't comment!
Now, he's actually coming out with a book. He did Killing Lincoln and Killing Jesus. The new one is called Killing My Spouse.
Oh, wow. It's harsh, Rob. Strange phenom shocked residents in a rural Australian town earlier this month. I'm going to play my own music for this right now. Do you know what it was?
I do not.
In the town, it appeared to be raining spiders.
Oh, my God.
The whole place was covered with little black spiderlings, said resident Ian Walton in an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald. And of course, he's Australian, so I have to do this.
Yeah.
When I looked up at the sun, it was like this tunnel of webs going for a couple of 100 meters in the sky. Oi!
Oi! It's always Jacko with you.
It wasn't raining spiders. Australian museum naturalist Martin Robinson says a migration technique called ballooning could explain the phenomenon. Ballooning is when baby spiders, turn that off, they have this tunnel of webs going up for a couple of 100 meters into the sky, and they climb to the top of plants and release the silk. It catches the breeze and carries the spiderlings. They can literally travel for kilometers. Now I'm turning him into a South African.
If that ever happened, I think I would shoot myself. I would rather die.
Yep. Yeah. So just yesterday, I was drinking something and I thought I'd spilled something on my shirt, right?
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, where's that cold spot?" And I was like, "Okay." I didn't see a spot. I was like, "Okay," and I felt it again. I said, "Well, I didn't spill anything this time." I looked down my shirt. There was a spider on my stomach.
Big one?
Oh yeah.
Yee, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Only one time in South Florida, and it was recently. It was like maybe 2 weeks ago. I felt something at night go across my chest. And that was not that, because, this is the land of creepy crawlers down here.
We used to get fairly common to
get
get tarantulas in banana boxes at the grocery store.
Did you ever come across one?
I never saw one, but one time I was there and the meat guy said, "Hey, I want to show you something." And the meat guys are nuts because they spend their whole day with bandsaws and sprinkling cinnamon on fat so it doesn't smell. These are the crazy people. Here's what you can count on. Meat guys are crazy, produce guys are angry, and the dairy guy is fat. This is what happens at a grocery store. But the meat guy said, "Hey, I want to show you something." And those white plastic trays, styrofoam trays they put ground beef on? There was a dead tarantula that he had wrapped in plastic. And he had it he was showing people.
Showing off.
And I'm saying, that's terrific. Use the same thing to wrap meat, right?
That's
nice.
Yeah. All right, presented as a public service, here are 3 specific reasons you shouldn't let your dog lick your face.
Listen up, fellas.
That's right.
Number 1, tapeworms.
Oh.
Dogs get them from coming into contact with dead animals, and they can pass them on to you by licking themselves after they use the bathroom and then licking your face. Nasty, nasty. Food poisoning. Again, if your dog licks a dead animal or another animal's droppings, it can pick up bacteria like salmonella, or it can happen if it gets into the trash. Then it can pass it on to you by licking your face. And here's the last one. Let me see if I pronounce it correctly. Cryptosporidium.
Oh, of course.
Cryptosporidium is a parasite that attacks your intestines and causes diarrhea. It's pretty rare to get it from your dog, but letting it lick your face is the only way it can happen. So don't let your dog lick your face. Thank you very much.
Let it stay.
Yeah. Some evolutionary biologists in England just finished a study that found the only reason men are still around is so women can turn them down. Pony, fear not. Isn't this good news?
This is
When it comes to the most basic biology,
He gave his promo read there.
that's interesting.
Hey, that's really fascinating.
Yeah, I crave action. When it comes to the most basic biology, men are pretty unnecessary. Women have the eggs. Women are where babies gestate, and that's not the most important part of the process. Men provide the fertilization side of things, but really women could evolve to handle that part as well. Scientists say men are necessary, not just in the way you think. They're only around so women can reject the ones with weak genetics and reproduce with the ones who are stronger.
Man.
Rob,
Wow.
we are lucky we found a couple, aren't we?
Yeah, we did. And,
really
and then there's Mac.
Still get paid more money.
That's right.
And now a little something. President Obama has had a Twitter account for years, but it was run by the White House. Yesterday, he finally broke free and got his own personal account at POTUS, P-O-T-U-S. That stands for President of the United States, if you were not paying attention. He's already up over 1.5 million followers, and a lot of them are taking advantage of this revolutionary way to get in contact with the president by asking him, of course, for sex. There you go.
No.
Thank you.
Hey, does he take it with him once he leaves office?
No, I don't think he can because he's no longer POTUS.
You know, for a second there when you said, hey, does he take it? And I just paused, and I wasn't sure what you were going to say. Hundreds of people have tweeted him things like, spank me, daddy.
Oh, dear.
Choke me, daddy. And sit on my face. Here's what they probably didn't realize. Every single one of these tweets is being logged and archived under the Presidential Records Act, and one day you'll be able to look all of them up in the Library of Congress.
Hey, that's
so
terrific.
Great news, folks. If you ask to have the president sit on your face, you can show it to your grandchild one day. Thank you very much. We will take a break, come back with the Audio Vault and Rob Spiewak. We're right here on the Mike O'Mara Show.
It's Tony and Gary.
Hi there, I'm Tony Perkins.
Hi, I'm Ed McMahon.
And on this episode of the Tony Perkins Show, we say goodbye to David Letterman.
Yes, but we also do the worldly world of Tony Perkins.
You know what? You set me up for that game. I don't think I want to air that.
I set you up for every game.
Well, that is true. I don't come across very smart, boys and girls. Anyway, subscribe to the Tony Perkins Show on iTunes.
The Tony Perkins Show.
Welcome back to the Mike O'Mara Show, brought to you by FanDuel, changing the way people play fantasy baseball and making it more fun and more exciting than ever. That's because FanDuel.com is the leader in one-day fantasy sports leagues with immediate cash payouts and entry fees that start at just $1. There is no season-long commitment and no upfront fees. Last week, David S. from New Mexico turned $3 into $10,000 in one night of fantasy baseball. Not too shabby.
Nice.
Join him and the over 1 million others who've already won money. Play today, win tonight. FanDuel is handing out more than $2.5 million, Mr. Scholarship winner. You're here. And they've got the NHL and NBA playoff games, too. Just go to FanDuel.com. By the way, congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
All right.
Or the Tampa Lightning.
Finally.
Tampa Lightning, I think so. Just go to FanDuel.com. They beat the Rangers last night. The series is tied at 1-1. Go to FanDuel.com. Click the microphone in the upper right-hand corner. Use our code TMOS and sign up today. Here's a special offer for new users. For every $1 you deposit, FanDuel matches it up to $200 that gets earned as you play. That's a bonus of up to $200. The offer is good for the first 50 people that use the code TMOS. Just remember, FanDuel.com and enter TMOS, where every day is a brand new season, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, let's open up the audio vault for today. This is Tuesday, May 19, 2015. Rob Spiewak.
Mike, you remember yesterday's show? Do you remember that show when
I remember it.
There was the thing from, I think it was a San Francisco TV station that aired the S word twice, and immediately the anchor said, "Oh, we're very sorry if you happen to hear that profanity."
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
one way to handle profanity on the air. Another good way is to just laugh it off and keep saying that it was bound to happen. Let's go to ESPN's Michael Smith on the show First Take.
That's insane to me. Are you impressed by this?
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, what he's talking about is pretty great. If you've ever seen the Vine video, a Penn State lineman tackles a tree.
Okay.
Literally tackles a tree. It's fantastic.
Okay, good.
I'd be impressed by it. My man tackled a tree.
See,
I don't care.
that right there is why guys do stupid.
Oh.
It was bound to happen. 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 I'll see y'all next week.
He walks off?
Yep. They go to spots.
Oh Mike.
Hey, Nikki, let me know how fast that is up on YouTube.
Oh, jeez.
And Instagram and Twitter.
So what you got to do is watch this guy say the S word, but then watch the guy tackle the tree. Both great videos.
I think that anybody that's going to throw rocks at this guy has to be mindful of the fact that they should never, ever cuss in front of their children. And let's get a line of people that have never done that. Say you got a 10-year-old kid, and let's find the kid that has never had their folks cuss in front of him by accident, okay?
Oh, you know what I love? When I do it now, Robert says language. It's fantastic.
I love that.
So
great.
a couple weeks ago when they announced that they were touring and they put out that live Japan album, Sammy Hagar said David Lee Roth sucks, essentially.
Yeah.
And now they asked David Lee Roth about that when he was on the red carpet. Is it called the red carpet after an award show?
Still red carpet.
Okay, so he's on the red carpet, and they say that when he tours with Van Halen, are they going to sing any songs from Van Hagar?
There's a credibility issue there. Good, bad, or in the middle, you know Roth means it. The other guy doesn't. And that's why it sold half as well. Literally, Midas, Bible, half. Never did better than half. And why would you bring that into the proceedings? This hamburger don't need no helper.
Exactly, Mike. This hamburger don't need
That's
no help.
why his morning show
ass.
failed.
That's
That's
right.
why it failed.
Hey, you know what? Just like all of us,
He's a
fired by
jerk.
CBS.
Yeah, but I remember I turned on his show and I said, okay, what's this gonna be like? And it was like that. It was just riddles and rhymes, and I said, where is this show?
Yeah, where's
This
something?
hamburger don't need no helper.
They
And,
literally
I will
have.
give him credit, though. I saw him on the Billboard, the opening of the Billboard Music Awards. He has changed the look. You remember the one we saw in Philadelphia, Rob, where
Yes.
he had the spandex and he looked ridiculous.
Yeah, he's sort of
'Cause he was still
modernized it, yeah.
He's gone AC/DC, and
Yeah.
those guys have been around for 70 years because they keep that little, wear some tweed and some leather and some vests, and you can get away with
When
that.
you
can do
listen
that.
to Van Halen on the awards, though, didn't it sound like most of the stuff was being played by a guy with a record player backstage?
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
horrible.
there was a lot of overdubbing.
And
you
to
get
be
the same
honest,
feeling when you watch Charlie Watts drum for the Stones. Like, he's not really doing that.
Somebody's
is he?
got a machine back there that's doing it. But I will tell you that performing live, Sammy Hagar still does a better job live.
he does.
And I just there are people that love early Van Halen and people that love Van Hagar at the same time. Stop it, please. Maybe they're trying to do it.
Can't we all just get along, Mike?
That's what I say on Facebook.
There is a comedy group called the Shonky Brothers. They're from Australia, and one of them is named Loz Shonky, L-O-Z, or maybe Loz. And
Loz Shonky, that's the guy's name.
He's Australian. He recorded a fart, and he realized that if he slowed the fart down just a bit, it was a major seventh in B flat with a trill. And so here is what he has done. He gives you the fart and then plays it on musical instruments. I find it beautiful. And if I get the quote right, sorry about that, Laz. I think the quote was, and it all came out of my arse. So there you go. Every now and then when you're gathering audio, you hear tape of someone that you want to meet. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, but I really want to meet John Jones Jr. of Atlanta. He is a truck driver. He's been out of work for over a year. And he was fighting with his wife, and he got mad, and he was bored. So he decided to drive his truck through his house.
Oh.
Now, here's the deal.
Not
Police
okay.
were called, but there's no law against it, so they couldn't do anything. So they interviewed him after the fact. Don't you want to meet this guy?
I don't know. It's just one of them spur of the moment crazy things. Been out of work for the past year and a half. Needed some work. Why not? It don't pay, but hey, kept me busy. When the police come out here, I told them I needed air conditioning. They said open the window. Told me it wasn't enough. As you can see, it had a nice breeze. That cop, he jinxed me. He said, man, I can't believe you didn't pop no tires. Next morning, it was leaking. I'm just saying, don't dare me, because I will do it.
Yeah. Chances are, Mike, he lives on Peach Street. But that is John Jones Jr. of Atlanta.
Wow.
Now, we've talked a lot about animal tapes on this show. I know you love goats.
Yes, I love goats.
I tape them, but I really am still scared and put off by parrots.
Okay.
And this is a video. It's on our Facebook page and our YouTube page.
You'd hate it down here because
Well, a lot of parrots?
Yeah, lots. I mean, anywhere
Pet
you go
parrots.
with kids attractions, they've got parrots everywhere. Parrots,
Well,
cockatoos, cockatiels, everything.
This is a very upsetting video. A boy, looks to be maybe 9 or 10, has a small parrot on his shoulder, and the parrot pulls a tooth from the kid's mouth. Like
on
loose
purpose?
Tooth. Yeah, and the kid wrote on YouTube. He says it's the 5th time he's done it.
I can't watch that. Is he getting it? Mm-hmm. Anson, I can't watch that. That's gross.
I gotta see this.
That's disgusting.
Kids got stones. That's funny as
Well,
hell.
and you know what? The teeth, you wouldn't think that the parrot would have the strength to do it, but you have to realize the meth weakens the teeth. And it is the season of dads and grads, and you know who gave a commencement speech was George W. Bush.
It is graduation season. At a commencement speech over the weekend, George W. Bush told college grads that even C students can become president. That was his message. Even C students. Yeah. It was an inspiring speech entitled, "Try Kinda Hard and Have the Right Dad."
Hey, it's me trying kind of hard. That's your Magic Audio Vault. Have a great Tuesday, everybody.
Buddy, get us out of here. Thanks to Cindy Williams. That is really a terrific interview. We really enjoyed that. Her book is Surely I Jest, A Storied Life, available at Amazon.com. And we thank her for joining us. Where's she going to be? Somewhere in D.C. tonight,
Yeah,
right?
tonight at 5:30, she'll be at the City Club. That's 555 13th Street Northwest. I'll post the other things on my Facebook page. Check it out.
You want to send us anything, it's TMOS, Box 2796, Leesburg 20177. To get your message or birthday request into tomorrow's mailbag, email Rob with 2 B's at MikeO'MaraShow.com. And the Mike O'Mara relies on your word of mouth. Spread the word about TMOS so you can get people to get it too. For Rob Spiewak and Oscar Santana, Mike O'Mara inviting you to join us again for another episode of the Mike O'Mara Show. So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Whoa, wait, don't go. I need to tell you that MikeO'MaraShow.com/Amazon is perfect for all your online shopping needs. Shop the best way. Shop Amazon. And please go through our website. Always open at MikeO'MaraShow.com/Amazon.
Mike O'Mara, Radio Entertainment.